crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadshow.com. With your morning, one of these, your sip of chaga coffee. Yes, keep taking your chaga, keep taking your vitamin D. That's the only thing you need to take. Not only thing, but vitamin C, all your supplements. That's what you need to take going forward, not that. Anyway, here's what's happening, and it has been happening for a while now. The actual true forces that would make a global change in currency are happening right now. Obviously, inflation is the number one. But inflation is just what the government reports. That number means nothing. I'm a member of John Williams' Shadow Stats. I love John Williams because it's kind of like Ted Butler. He uses the government's own data. He does it properly where the government adjusts it every 2 minutes to fit their liking. But he uses it properly. So he gets a closer look at inflation. I ran the numbers because he has a great calculator. Go to shadowstats.com. Great calculator. I ran the numbers for silver since 1980 when it was at $50. And it should be like $1,380 based on, that's only solely based on the CPI, how it was calculated back then. Yeah, and silver's trading at $23 or $24. Ridiculous. But that doesn't take into account what has happened since 1980 till now. It doesn't take into account that in 1980, the U.S. government had 3 billion ounces of silver that we've hence sold off. It doesn't take into account all the other governments that held silver that have since sold off. It doesn't calculate the amount of silver used in technology since 1980, which is 60% of the silver coming out of the ground is used in technology. It doesn't even go towards monetary metals. And people have forgotten. People have forgotten what monetary metals are because of the success of the long-term manipulation and price suppression of gold and silver. It is amazing how they did it. And I mean, how can you get an entire population on planet Earth to believe that gold and silver are not valuable monetary metals? That is now ending. And we have the next step, which is the banks and the government starting to cut people off. That's what pisses people off. And that's what causes bank runs. Watch It's a Wonderful Life if you want to know what a bank run is. And we have that going on in Canada. Canadian government is cutting off people, not only truckers and people who support the truckers from their bank accounts. They're cutting them off from their retirement funds, from their investment accounts, from everything they own financially. That's how tyrannical this move is. But that's the question. They must have known that this would force bank run. They must have known that. And that's why they did it. That's why I think it's a good guy operation. Somebody's telling Trudeau to do exactly what he's doing. And I think it's the good guys. Hey, call me an eternal optimist. But what's going on? Bank runs in Canada. Canada's top banks mysteriously go offline days after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said he would invoke emergency orders to crack down on demonstrators by freezing their bank accounts. That's not only bank accounts. That's their retirement funds. That's everything they own in the financial system that the government can. That's why I've been screaming, get your assets in your own possession. Get your assets in your own possession. It's so important right now. 5 major Canadian banks went offline Wednesday night as customers reported their funds were unavailable, according to technology website Bleeping Computer. Royal Bank of Canada, BMO, Bank of Montreal, Scotiabank, TD Bank Canada, and the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce were all hit by unexplained outages on Wednesday evening. Users began reporting issues with banks around 1600 Eastern Time. Down detectors showed the data. So this is all true. You can verify it by seeing how many people are saying, "Why is my bank down? What's wrong with RBC? What's wrong with Scotiabank?" Oh my God! I just remembered. Go to all you private road members. Go to the Road to Ruta timeline for February. Go to the Road timeline for February and look what I wrote. Yes, banking outages due to computer failures. This has just begun. This is going to spread throughout the world, and it's going to spread fast. Because once people get a sniff in the air, I smell like I'm not going to get my funds out of the bank unless I go right now. It happens really fast. Canadian Twitter users reported they couldn't access their funds at ATMs. One user took a photo of an error message at one of RBC's ATMs. Here's the I think it's kind of a funny thing, but everybody who's in on the game, all what Trudeau would call the bad guys, the people trying to help the truckers, what are they going to do? They're going to go pull their money out of the bank. They're going to look for alternative assets that they can hold in their own possession. And so who wins in that situation? The people who get their money out of the bank first. And then the people who transfer those assets into real assets that will be valuable in the future, like silver, for example, the number one by far. For now, yes, crypto is going to be great in the future, but for now, you want silver in your possession. That's the number one asset I recommend. Number two is cryptos, the good ones like Theta. But that's for hanging on to for the future. Theta is the future of the internet. Silver will save your bacon right now. So who's going to get all their money out of the bank first? The truckers and the people supporting the truckers. If they do it now, don't wait for tomorrow. Because this is going to spread to not only truckers, it's going to spread to conservatives. They're going to say, oh, conservatives are bad. And then everybody's going to run to the bank to try to get their money out in Canada. And the first ones to get there get their money. In America, the same thing will happen because bank runs it's not going to be just Canada. The U.S. is following the same path. Right now, there's truckers lining up to go drive into D.C. They're leaving from California. I think they left yesterday. We're going to see the same thing. The Biden administration is going to say, call them terrorists. Department of Homeland Security is going to come out. Everybody's going to donate to support. They're going to shut down all the financial things. And then Biden's going to come out and say, oh, my God, these are terrorists. We have to shut down their bank accounts. Everybody's going to run to the bank. Poof. If you don't have it done now, you're shit out of luck. SOL. So don't be SOL. Get your money out of the bank. Get it into silver, gold, if you have to. I love gold. Don't get me wrong. Silver's just gold on massive steroids, not little steroids. There's so much gold out there, too. There's massive amounts. We will use gold as money because there's so much of it. I'm not so sure we'll use silver as money. Oh, someone sent me electron microscope view of the little slot in the bottom of the gold eagle and the silver eagle. I'll show you. You can't really see much as far as I don't think they've imprinted something. There is some lines there, but they look more like machining lines. And this is like a zoom up. I'll post that on the website later today. And I'm also talking to Jenny Moonstone today. So we got a lot to talk about. Join the private road, get the inside scoop. Okay, so we know what's happening and why. We know what's happening and why. My timeline is spot on right now. After this, I thought, oh my God, we're not going to get the bank runs and the computer problems this month, and we're only halfway through. That's how I watched this thing so closely, but we are. And the rest of the stuff that follows on, you can go to the private road and go in there, and it's right at the top, the timeline for the next 3 months. Now here's what happens when there's an issue with money or issue with banking or the finance system. People look for alternatives. And if you want to know if Russia is against Biden, Kremlin teases alternatives to SWIFT if sanctioned, including crypto in Fortress Russia strategy. Russia's set. Russia knows exactly what the U.S. is doing. Russia is a member of the Road to Ruta private road. Russia went to the gold conference, the Gold Gata conference up in the Yukon. My favorite picture is Putin holding this bar of gold. That was back in the early 2000s. They know exactly what to do, and they've planned on how to get around it. That's why they said, don't buy cryptos. We're going to ban cryptos. And now they're saying they might include cryptos in their strategy around the U.S. dollar. And Putin's like, right now, yes, it is completely young. It's early. But if the U.S. pushes us, we'll invest. They'll invest just like you should be investing. everything that is unbacked fiat money, anti-controllers. That would be cryptos, that would be silver. And if you have to have gold, go ahead, gold. If you have gold now, swap it for physical silver as fast as you can. Because you won't have time to swap. Cliff's data had it becoming unobtainium. Love that word, unobtainium, meaning you cannot get your hands on any physical silver. Hey, buddy, come here. Buddy's trying to run away. Gave him a bone, too. All right, so what does Biden do? He says, Ukraine invasion very high. And the rest of the world saying, what is this guy talking about? Is he completely senile? Ukraine invasion very high. Russia expels U.S. deputy ambassador, demands U.S. leave Europe. And then this. This time, Biden senses. This is the guy we're following. He's obviously not. This is obviously not the correct administration that is running the world right now. But it is the administration that is being propped up for the world to see. And he is one of the worst. Biden, I don't even think, if he's still with us, which I'd say 50-50, I know Hillary's not, but if he's still with us, he clearly can't even make up his mind whether or not to go to the bathroom. Biden senses Russia will invade Ukraine in the next several days. What does he really sense? He sensed the end of the economic system and the end of COMEX trading because Bank of America is in such trouble. And let me show you what they're going to do. And don't forget, this is the same Biden that said just in December, mid-December, Biden predicts winter of death for the unvaxxed. How'd that prediction go, Joe? No, it wasn't the winter of death. Omicron was nothing. It was a joke. Just like you're a joke, Joe. Joe, you're a joke. But what are they going to do? What are they going to do on the COMEX? Because right now, silver's still hovering between the 50, 100 above, and then 200-day moving average. Everybody knows. Everybody knows silver price is massively, massively suppressed. They're going to declare this, force majeure. With a war, you could go force majeure. You want a false flag? The U.S. is going to do the false flag. There's no doubt in my mind, no doubt in everybody's mind. But the COMEX can declare a force majeure. What is a force majeure? Force majeure is a concept in contract law that describes a clause, including many contracts, that frees the parties to the contract from their contractual obligations in the event of highly unusual or unforeseen circumstances. The force majeure clause is triggered into effect by an extraordinary event or the occurrence of an extreme set of circumstances that is completely beyond the control of the parties of the contract. It makes it impossible for the contract to be fulfilled. Listen to this. Examples of events that might trigger a force majeure clause into effect include a declaration of war, a disease epidemic, a hurricane, an earthquake, or other natural disaster events that fall under the legal term act of God. The declaration of war is not an act of God. This guy is not God. But they will use that to shut down this, the COMEX trading of silver. That's what it's all about. This is about the end of fiat money. That's all it's about. So this is why you have to have assets in your own possession. Expect the chaos to come in the next few days. Cliff's data is spot on. We're like right in the heart of it. Could happen at any moment. If you don't have your physical silver in your own possession right now, you're crazy. You're crazy. Get it. Get it, get it, get it. This is going to save your family. Go down to your local coin shop. Number one, I say it all the time. Build relationships with your local coin dealers because that's who you're going to be selling it back to. When you want to buy a new car, you're going to take your little silver dime and you walk down there and they're going to say, oh my God, you have a silver dime? You have a pre-65 dime? What kind of Ferrari would you like in our lot? That's the way the future is going with the value of silver. What you see on this screen is horse pucky. What you see on this screen, even for gold, gold's going to go to 10 or 20,000. That's great. But silver's going to go higher than 10 or 20,000. And right now you can get 79 ounces, probably 75 after commissions, 74 ounces of silver for just one tiny ounce of gold. You get a stack of silver coins, and the silver's so much more important for industrial uses. Remember, 60% coming out of the ground goes into the industrial side, never even sees monetary silver. So at 7-to-1 ratio, it's more like 3-to-1. And then you throw in all the other things, like the massive amount of gold there is in the world. Remember, a ratio is what is it relative to? And what a gold-silver ratio, most of the time they're talking about price. Price based in US dollars. But the problem now is there's no exchange for physical silver on the planet. We have a derivative exchange called the COMEX that they set the price on. That's it. The London Bullion Market Association is not even an exchange. It's an association of bankers that tell you what the price of silver is. These are the people that are going away. I hope this has sunk in. I know I've screamed it for the last 20 years, but I'm screaming it louder and louder and louder. It's been a long, hard fight, but today we've never been closer to the freeing of silver from manipulation and the freeing of humanity from these criminal bankers. Because silver takes out the banks, even if they declare force majeure, because they can never get in there and get their silver. It's too late. JP Morgan's going to lose all their silver because Bank of America borrowed it and threw it into ETFs. So we don't know what they did with it. Probably other big buyers were taking silver. So Bank of America and JP Morgan said, we got to get them silver. JP Morgan had it. How much does JP Morgan is going to end up with some big, gigantic IOU and a force majeure letter? That's all they get. If they have it at all, if the government hasn't confiscated, which they can. They already broke their agreement with the DOJ that they wouldn't screw with the markets again. They broke it. They broke it by having secret communications that they didn't tell the DOJ about. This came out after they got fined $920 million. I hope this makes sense. Cryptos, who knows where they're going over the next 6 months. You got to have them, obviously, because the exchanges will shut down. Crypto exchanges will shut down just like the silver exchange is going to shut down. They all deal in fiat money. Remember that. Decentralized exchanges, swap exchanges, maybe, but will the internet be functioning? Will the companies that run the internet be functioning? All the servers and the routers and all that stuff. I don't know, and you don't know. But if you have it in your own possession, you have better odds than your neighbor. So go to your local coin shop, get your silver today. If you have money in an IRA, contact Will Lair at Perpetual Assets, perpetualassets.com. He can teach you how to do a self-directed rollover of the IRA, self-directed IRA, rolling it over so you don't have to pay the taxes for withdrawing your IRA money. I don't know if there's enough time. If you could take a loan out from your IRA, it might be a good time to do that and buy silver. If you don't have a local silver dealer, contact Andy Scheckman, Andy, A-N-D-Y, at milesfranklin.com. He'll set you up and ship silver to your front door. Just be ready to move fast. Ask him what he's got in the inventory. How much is it? Take the lowest price thing right now, and voila. Wire him the money, and you can have silver at your front door. There's no time left. I hope this is, stuff like this, bank run in Canada, it's coming into the entire world. Bank runs do not happen in isolation. It's not just these 5 banks, and it's not just these truckers. Because the truckers are going to get their money out before everybody else. It backfired on Trudeau and his buddies. Unless it was the good guys doing it, which I think it was. This will get money in the hands of the truckers that used to be in the bank. If you're any way associated with the Canadian movement right now, Jean-Claude, are you listening? Get your money out of the bank. Because they're coming for you. And they're not only going to stop your transfers from the bank, they're going to your retirement funds. They're going to your brokerage accounts. Trudeau's already said this. This covers any type of financial asset. They'll cut off your credit cards. This is the tyranny of the bad guys. This is them flexing their power. It's time for you to flex yours. Clearly, Russia's flexing theirs, saying we don't even need the SWIFT system. We can use crypto. We can use gold and silver. Wait till Russia comes out and says, we love gold because we have a lot of it. We don't have a lot of silver. We're going to spend $1 trillion on silver, physical silver, and get it into our own possession. China's been doing that, soaking up 2,000 to 3,000 tons of silver every year. Now is the time. Now is the time. All right. We are also going on the Roadshow. If the world stays intact, we're going on the Roadshow March 5th, and we're going to be talking about all this stuff. We're going to be singing about freedom. It's so important. Bravo. And I have no doubt that Joe Biden will cut off all my accounts. There's no doubt. And maybe anybody related to the Road to Ruta, that vicious Road to Ruta that talks about freedom, will get cut off. I don't think it's going to get to that point because I think everything's going to end faster. It's all speeding up right now. Time is speeding up. This whole thing, you might think it's sudden. It's not sudden. It's been going on for over 100 years. It was always the plan to print money to infinity, soaking up all the benefits of unbacked fiat money, then explode the system. Now's the time they're exploding the system. Trump was brilliant. Again, he got this criminal who kind of looks like he's in charge to take the blame for hyperinflation, for the crash of the stock market, for the attack on our liberties. Trump, I think he should have pulled the Band-Aid right when he got in office, but he didn't want to. He wanted the blame to go on the right shoulders, which is the bankers, the criminal parts of the government. And hopefully he'll be there to mop it up. But I don't think we need him anymore. I think we need somebody else. He did his job as the bull in the china shop. I think the military's in charge now, and then let us vote. The Postal Service has a new voting system, blockchain-based, that they patented back in August, before the election, before the stolen election. They have it. It's ready to go. Let's put it into use. Let's pull this Band-Aid, get this shit over with, elect a new president, fire 90% of the federal government. We don't need 35 million people working directly and indirectly for our governments. We don't need it. Get rid of the IRS. There we go. That's a big one. All right. That's all I got for you. Hey, make sure you get your Roadshow tickets. Go to roadtoruta.com, click on the Roadshow. We'll be in Sonoma on March 5th. If the world is still in one piece. Santa Barbara on the 9th. Los Angeles. Bitcoin Ben's coming to the LA show on the 12th. Andy Scheckman will be at the Sonoma show. San Diego, I think Andy's coming to that too on the 16th. Phoenix, we got Jenny Moonstone, Like Queen Lisa, Clint Westwood, Albuquerque. Ken Swartz from C60 is going to be coming to Albuquerque. We got friends, we got family out there. I'll leave you with a little roadshow sizzle. Make sure you go check it out, get your tickets, and join us out on the road. This is Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com, going out with a bang.